Brandon, I got my hair done. I got all spiffy. I might not for my aunt's wedding, but I will for Dan Snyder selling the team.
Oh, is Dan Snyder about to sell the Comadres? Looks like it. Also, are you excited about the players you got in the trades?
Honestly, that could be a 3-hour episode talking about what the Packers did during the trade deadline. So you know what? We'll save that for the end because we're going from 11 to 5 today.
Yeah, okay.
Just like I went. Oh, baby. We here.
We steer.
You in the right direction. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Grossi Perna Show. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. And this is GPS. And we got breaking news today. We thought we were just going to recap and cover all the crazy trades that happened yesterday in what was a historic and insane NFL trade deadline. But the breaking news, according to Forbes, is that Dan Snyder has apparently hired Bank of America to sell the Washington Commanders. A story that we've been waiting for quite some time. Forbes, right this second, is the only outlet that's reporting on it. So we're going to kind of go through it together since we literally just logged on. But this is crazy news. And for Commanders fans, long overdue. Yeah,
this is what they call huge news for BOA of America. Dang it. I can't even read the article because it's a paywall.
Oh, no.
Here, I got a little bit. According to someone familiar with the process, Snyder already has at least 4 calls from groups interested in buying the team. Snyder and his bankers are exploring all options, and a transaction could be for the entire NFL team or a minority stake. Neither the Commanders or Bank of America.
I got it. Yo, I got it. See, you just go to Twitter, buddy. You go to Twitter and you got it all. Oh, is that what you're reading about the Clippers?
The Clippers?
Oh yeah, I got a whole bunch of articles right now. Hold on. So yeah, call neither Commanders nor Bank of America, which has handled such notable team sales as the purchase of the Clippers, blah, blah, blah. In March 2021, no one cares. This is not saying anything. It's talking about Rob Walton. You know who he is. Okay. As the club is rebranded from the Redskins to the Commanders, revenue has increased sharply. Team sponsorship revenue is surging 40% this season, more than 2021. They got a richest sponsorship deal ever with SeatGeek. It's just kind of giving background on the team. It's like not actually saying a whole lot. But like, shout out to Twitter because they get behind those paywalls. That's why I just had to go into the comments and I knew I would find it. But
yeah. Oh, I see what you're looking at.
Yeah, you see exactly what I'm looking at. Yo, shout out to Mike getting it done in the comments.
Yeah, Mike.
I'm pretty sure Mike follows me too, so shout out to Mike. So yeah, it seems like it's just a bunch of background information, but yeah, that's pretty damn big news to be breaking right this second. So hold on, Ari just tweeted, but he's just retweeting the Forbes article here. It says it's hired Bank of America Securities to help sell them, according to Forbes. Snyder and his bankers are exploring all options, and a transaction could be for the entire team or whoa.
I just read this. A minority stake.
My bad. My bad.
But yeah, look, if he's considering this, he has to feel pressured by the other owners to get off the pot. Previously, we know Jim Irsay was calling out Dan Snyder, saying it was time for him to sell the team. Dan Snyder told Jim Irsay to shut up.
Perna, we got breaking a statement from the Commanders.
Uh-oh.
Hold on. We got a statement that says Dan and Tanya Snyder and the Washington Commanders announced today that they have hired Bank of America Securities to consider potential transactions. The Snyders remain committed to the team, all of its employees, and its countless fans, you can count them, to putting the best product on the field and continuing to work to set the gold standard for workplaces in the NFL. So it just says transactions, so it is incredibly vague. Come on, Snyder. Come on.
See. Is that the Commanders' Twitter?
I saw like Ari just put it out. Justina Anderson just put it out. So, okay, but transactions is vague. That's odd.
Very odd.
I want to be more excited about this, Brandon.
Yeah,
I want to be more excited.
I mean, it's a big step.
It's
something.
A big step. The biggest one we've seen thus far.
This is like step one to recovery. You got to admit that you have a problem. So I think this is
admit there's a problem.
Yeah. Now I'm not saying he won't admit he has a problem, but he's admitting he might just take a giant sum of money to go away from the NFL.
I'm so sad. Like, wow. What a tough life. Do terrible things and then get to walk away with billions of dollars. Okay. This is very interesting though. Because there's, again, the Forbes article said that, right, they have like 4 potential buyers. You have to imagine like Bezos has to be more.
Bezos, it's his team if he wants it.
Got it. Oh, yeah. He could just be like, there you go. There you go,
he
guys.
could buy every NFL team, which is disgusting.
It's pretty crazy. Yeah. So, again, we don't know yet, but
it looks like he might be possibly selling the team. Or at least a part of it.
Which is, again, that's a big difference, though.
Yeah.
Like, he's just selling a minority stake. I mean, You know? Like,
well, because
he's still going to be involved.
Didn't a bunch of the minority stakeholders sell off their portions of the team because they didn't want to be associated with Dan Snyder? Is that what happened?
I think a bunch of them tried or attempted or did. I remember that story. So, yes,
well, we'll see if anything else pops up during the show. I have to imagine this is step one of him exiting. Pat McAfee tweeting "holy shit" above it as well. So I think we're all on the same page. This means they could be selling.
Oh my God. It'd be so great. It would be so great.
I'm sure McAfee will have somebody on his show who understands what's happening after our show. So maybe that's where clarity we'll get some clarity.
Exactly. So was just a Bank of America joke? Maybe. Bank of America, listen, I will deposit an extra $500 into my checking account if you help him sell the team.
If everyone deposits $500 into their BOA account,
plenty outside.
They sell. Plenty. Well, this will free the Washington football team from the reign of terror that Dan Snyder has released upon you good football fans of the capital of our great nation. Our capital known for not doing anything wrong ever. And Dan Snyder is the one stain in Washington.
Yeah.
Just so anti-patriotic, this guy. Sometimes I have a hard time looking at the American flag because of what Dan Snyder has done to our nation's capital. So
it's true.
Time for him to get the hell out. And I will say, as somebody with the new team ownership, it's a process, guys. Don't expect immediate results.
Honestly, Perna, if they're terrible for like 5 years afterwards, 1, you wouldn't really be able to tell the difference, even though they beat my team. And 2, it's not Dan Snyder. Like, it's just like better field. It's just better conditions. Maybe actually giving a crap about the fans in like the slightest.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just saying there's a lot there. But Perna, my bigger question is, right now, from this stream, I've made $15.99.
Wow.
Do you think that'd be enough to buy the Washington Commanders?
If you pair it with my $16.99,
you son of a gun. You son of a gun.
Oh, that's good sports winning today. Oh, no.
Wait. I got $17.99.
You son of a gun.
Listen, with that, but well, minus the 30% that YouTube is going to take. I think that we could put in a bid. We could put in a bid. All right. Now, here, you and I could be joint owners, but I will tell you, Wildflower has to be the face of the franchise.
I mean, Wildflower as a joint owner makes sense to me.
Right? I mean, that just makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
You know?
I'll share it. I'll share a part of that team.
By the way, we are going to win every trade deadline. They're going to be like, oh, what draft pick are you going to get? So I'm going to be like, no, point a stick and done.
First thing I do if I own the Commanders is I sign Taylor Heineke to a 10-year contract. I'm going to live and die with that man. Whoa, Jesse. Whoa, Jesse.
Oh, baby. I'm in the 20s now, sucker. All right. So that being said, we are going to talk about the trade deadline and all the craziness that happened there. We have, I mean, the Packers had a historic day. We're talking about at least, I think 50 moves that they made.
Yeah, I couldn't even keep up with all the work the Packers front office was doing yesterday.
I'm scared for tomorrow. Beast of Metal has said, because I lost to all the New York teams, I have to get punished.
Oh,
I'm scared.
One thing that's on deck for a Grossi punishment, if you guys want to tune in to Clickbait tomorrow, is Tom has to recreate. Let me show you what he has to recreate. This was suggested a while ago, and I've just been
holding on to it.
Where the hell?
Did you do your high knees in the Walmart yet?
No, I'm still eating Danger Witch every day.
You can burn it off.
Tom has to recreate this, but it has to go for at least 2 minutes.
Amon ra 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 St. Brown.
2 straight minutes. That's up for punishment, guys. Suggested to me weeks ago. Kind of lost a little steam since Amon's been, injured and the Lions have just fallen flat on their faces. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in the punishment area Thursday. Last day of my Danger Witch, too.
How's that going? Going well? Going well? All right, let's talk, because both of our teams did really big things yesterday during the trade deadline. The Denver Broncos trading away Bradley Chubb. This was highly rumored for the past couple of weeks, going to the Miami Dolphins, getting a first-round pick, which congrats on getting that back. But the other bigger thing is you got Chase Edmonds, and that was something that kind of slid under the radar for a hot second. But I was like, oh no, this is actually great. After doing this show with you 3 times a week, because now you actually might have an explosive run game that has a little bit of juice in it, because Chase Edmonds has been the guy in Miami. You can just dump the ball off to him and he takes off. He's been a nice change of pace back, and you don't have to worry about him fumbling all the time. So that's nice.
No, it's funny because look, Chase Edmonds not having a good season in Miami statistically. But none of the running game's not really happening there. And I get it. Okay. I'm not saying Chase Edmonds is going to save the Denver Broncos. But the amount of people who are just like, what's he going to do? He sucks. He sucks. You're an idiot for thinking he's a good running back. Ooh. Shut up, first of all. Second, all the Broncos need Chase Edmonds to do is two good runs a game, 2 runs that go for more than 12 yards. He can come in and do that. That's the one thing that's missing from the Broncos running game. Like I said 3 times now, they have 0 runs this season over 20 yards. My football team, the Steelers and the Buccaneers, the only other teams to have no rushes for over 20 yards. So, he needs to come in and be a guy who can maybe get 8 to 12 carries and soften that defense a little bit. That's what's hurting Russ. It's hurting the line. I don't know if it's going to fix this year, but we got him. It cost nothing. to get. It's not like we had to give extra to get him in,
Correct.
Exchange for Chubb. We got a first round pick and we got a guy who might help us immediately. We know he was great in Arizona. So I was equally excited about that. But man, nobody else seems to be. So we'll see. But it's understanding what his role needs to be. And I'm optimistic.
Yeah. I mean, again, maybe he helps in like the pass game, maybe. And again,
that's like catch a couple
worse.
passes out of the backfield.
Yeah.
Turn them into first downs. That's all we need.
That's it. And then you attempted to replace Bradley Chubb by sending a fourth over to the New York Jets.
Yeah, we got Jacob Martin. That's not a Bradley Chubb replacement. It's more of a depth piece because on the edge, the Broncos, they're going to get Baron Browning back, who was just injured, but Baron Browning looks like he could potentially be a top 3 edge rusher in the NFL.
Ooh.
His biggest problem is offsides penalties, but like he has, I believe it's like the fastest get off time around the edge. So he was playing, we were like, oh shit, this dude is good. Nick Bodino has come in and played really well in place of Baron Browning. We'll get Randy Gregory back from injury. So, like, we have 3 really good edge rushers, and I think that's what a lot of people don't understand about trading Chubb, who was in the final year of his deal, who at this point, like, unless they were going to extend, he wasn't going to be with the Broncos next year. So getting that first back for him is nice. And then, Jacob Martin is more of, like, the depth piece on edge. And it was uncertain when Baron Browning was going to come back, so in terms of a replacement, he could have been that way, but he's seen only limited opportunities with the Jets. And, if the secondary continues to play well, that helps all your edge rushers.
100%.
According to Von Miller and Richard Sherman, Pat Surtain is the best corner in the NFL. So going to get some sacks.
So, Bert, I know you talked about this yesterday, but like, where are you at? Like, because Judy obviously did not get traded. Hamler didn't get traded. I'm assuming you're kind of okay with this because for the Dolphins, this looks like a genius idea. And I do want to talk about the Dolphins because what they have done is like so unique in which they, again, Laramie Tunsil, forever changed the course of a franchise, but getting those 3 picks and then literally just trading them all away to get premier talent. But for you, like as a Broncos fan, I have to imagine like you're somewhat like, yeah, this works out.
Yes. No, it does. It's like Denver needed a first round pick. Now this team needs help. And we thought like we wouldn't need the first round pick because Russell Wilson was going to fix all our problems. Just didn't happen. Didn't work out that way. So we need the 49ers to suck, which that's not looking great, but who knows? It's the 49ers. Chubb is a guy we were all excited about. He's had some good stretches. Rookie season was great, had some injuries. But yes, he's playing well right now. So I love that Miami gets him because they clearly like one thing this team's missing is we just need a little more consistency out of the edge rush. Put him opposite Jalen Phillips and we can attack opposing quarterbacks. And their offense, their offense is such a good example of how elite receiving talent can just change the face of what you do. That offense was just so vanilla last year with Brian Flores and Tua. And now it's Tua with some serious weapons. And maybe that's what the Broncos actually use this pick for is if they can get, a receiver because Jerry Jeudy's playing better. Cortland Sutton, he's very good, but they need somebody that you can torch the defense. They haven't had that consistently. So the Dolphins are the blueprint of the Rams are the fuck them picks team, right?
And they were trying to give up 2 first-round picks to get Brian Burns from the Panthers, and the Panthers were like, no, we're not gonna do that.
I think the appropriate philosophy is what the Dolphins do, which is tank for the picks, then F them picks once you've used the picks to get all the good players. It's not as catchy of a slogan as what the Rams got, but it's the right one.
I mean, yeah, the Dolphins, have turned like a situation where the 49ers like massively like just jumped a whole lot of draft capital to go up and get Trey Lance.
Yeah.
And is that going to be successful? Well, they're doing it without him right now. And again, it's way too early to tell, but the Dolphins have turned that around and are going like, now we can be a really good team. And as I've talked about literally, and as we've talked about since the beginning of the season, all this is like, okay, is Tua the guy, right? You have all the weapons in the world, is Tua the guy? So that's what I was going to say too. Yeah, you got to address that line first before you go get your weapons.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, hey, can we get a tackle, a guard, or a wide receiver here in the mid-20s? But yes, they need offensive line help. Free agency, it's kind of hard to do that with the line unless, like, you know, a tackle just wants to leave a place and is ready to get paid somewhere. We'll get Garrett Bowles back at some point. They lost Cushenberry on the line, and then moving Graham Glasgow to center actually looked better. So who knows? But yes, it's one of those things where it sucks to see Chubb go because I like Bradley Chubb. He was playing well as an important part of the defense, but it's kind of a situation that benefits both teams, I think.
Yeah.
Dolphins fans should be excited, and Broncos fans should be happy that they can sit through the first round of the draft.
Let's say they get to stay up night one and actually see a pick.
Will and I talked about after the pod, like how horrible it was to stream the entire draft without your team picking the first round. Well, the first round of the draft is so boring. It's so boring when your team's not going to make a selection. It's like Christmas, but you're not getting any presents.
You're just watching all your family members like open iPads and stuff, and you're just like, cool.
Now, before we get to the Packers, Tom, because that's going to take a while.
I don't know if we have enough time.
I got a shout out. How about them Chiefs? How about those Chiefs YouTube channel? Cole DeRuse.
The beard.
Who, check out his YouTube channel. He started in January. He's already almost at 30,000 subs, which fuck you, Cole. You know how long it took Tom and I to do that? Anyway, he's crushing it. Found out he's a big coffee guy. Sent him 5 points coffee blend because he wanted the light roast. And he made this video that's so good, I had to share it today. This is not just an ad for my coffee, okay? This is more a plug for Cole.
Bench warmer brew. Thanks, Perna. What the?
Let's ride. Let's ride.
Bro, that's enough, man. Sheesh.
Sexy coffee shots. Look at all those sexy coffee shots.
This is better than any video we ever made.
I know. Like, I've never made an ad for my coffee this good.
It is like, you know, getting coffee in cars. That was like the best advertisement you could have ever asked for in your life.
Yep. Joke's on Cole. I paid nothing for that commercial. Sorry, Cole. He's a video dude. Like, I knew right away he was a video guy.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do something before the Broncos and Chiefs play, but make sure you check out his channel. I was like, I'll put a video together for you. And then I saw that, I was like, I said exactly what you just said. I was like, that's better than anything I've done for my own coffee brand.
Yeah.
Love it.
I don't even drink coffee, and you know what? I might try it. You know, like
some of that.
If he just did like an ad like that for heroin, I'd be like, maybe. Like, I've heard a lot of bad things, but that guy makes it look good. Is that what advertising is?
Yeah. Actually, the one question I have, though, for a Chiefs fan, seem to have a Russell Wilson jersey on hand pretty readily. So that's a little strange, Cole. Cole Strange. Patriots. Nailed it.
You nailed it, buddy.
All right, the Packers. What'd they do?
Oh, here you go, buddy. There you go.
I'll send you some more coffee, Cole. You can try them all.
And tea.
And Tom's tea bags. Almost sold out.
Oh God, I forget to email them. I haven't gotten paid because I haven't given them my information. That's on me.
Don't worry, it's not a lot of money.
You made more in super chats today, Tom. All right, let's talk about the Green Bay Packers.
Twice the work, less the reward.
That's it, baby. So yeah, I think the Packers. They did nothing during that.
Yeah.
They attempted to go for Chase Claypool. They offered a second-round pick, which is what the Steelers were asking for. However, so did the Bears, and so the there you go. Oh,
there it is.
Right, calm yourself down. Calm yourself down. The Bears offered a second-round pick, and the Steelers thought the Bears would be worse than the Packers this year, so they went with that pick, which is funny because that is similar to the Khalil Mack trade from a couple years ago, because the Packers were in on Khalil Mack, but they went with the Bears because, they thought, oh no, they'll finish worse, and that year they did not. So yeah, the Packers did nothing, much to the chagrin of a lot of people. There was a lot of anger, and I ranted yesterday because, like, holy crap, dude. Like, and maybe you experienced this. I know not recently, but like when you got Peyton Manning, right? Did you just get like a ton of like fair weather, like just bandwagon fans that like hopped along, and then like the year after they won the Super Bowl, like everyone's really mad, and then there was an exodus?
Oh, I mean, yes, for sure. When your team is good and they have a good quarterback, there's a lot of people who want to root for that team. So like when Manning was with the Broncos, like the fandom was insane. The coverage was insane. Like they're like everything. It's like jersey sales, everything's good. And then you move on to somebody like Trevor Siemian after all the diehards are out.
Slight step down. Yeah.
But really the drop off is when you hit like year 3 of your team being average. And it's not so much that the real fans don't show up. They just get tired and they don't want to hear any info. When I look at the but am I back? Did I?
For the most part, you're a potato, but it's okay. We love you. Okay. It's true.
I'm hardwired in.
They did release 2 players. That is true.
No, it's like that's why that's the jump I made in my channel, was from just being so Broncos focused to NFL focused, because all of a sudden, even if the Broncos won, but your team's got a barely 500 record or sub 500 record, and it's year 3 of that, like nobody cares. Nobody cares at all when your team is average and they know they're average. It's worse than being really bad. You either need to be really bad, which we've seen with the Broncos and Russ will, like being really bad with a popular quarterback, even if it's popularity based on hate, that's good for business. But yeah, there's an exodus for mediocre football for sure. And when Aaron Rodgers leaves, that's what doesn't make sense about like the Packers not trying to swing a giant phallic thing to get Rodgers some weapons.
Disagree.
Whoa.
Yep. Yeah. They were $5.6 billion in August, and the Broncos just sold for 4 point what?
5,
something?
Right?
Something like that billion. Yeah, that's gonna break records 100%.
Yeah. Washington's consistently like one of the most profitable teams.
They are. So yeah, that's really stupid. Yeah, they went on again. We're kind of real quick before I go any further. Ian Rappaport just tweeted out. He said, "Is he considering a sale of the entire franchise, just a piece?" And they said that we are exploring all options.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Packers fans literally were going on and like arguing with the mother of Christian Watson because they were basically calling her son soft because he keeps on getting injured after he like almost had like a serious neck injury. So, yeah. It's
you'll see the worst part of your fan base start to bubble up. It's kind of You see that when they lose in the playoffs, right? Like
Yes.
every year that loss, and
Every
then
year.
like the
Yes, thank you,
super
Perna.
angry people
Thank
come out and just unload everything that's going on in their own life. They take it out on the team and the players for no reason. Like, it's okay to be mad that your football team lost, but then
Sure.
there's a different level of weird sports fandom where they attack the people, they attack the family members. Like, I saw like somebody just shitting on Jerry Jeudy because he posted on Instagram calling himself him, and he's not him. But like this dude just went out and reposted the image and then just talked crap to him.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't need to do that, but you're
No.
going to see a lot of that once Rodgers is gone.
Yeah. I mean, like again, because the fan base has like reared its ugly head before. Like when Ty Montgomery fumbled during the Rams game a couple years ago, like off the kickoff, he ran out of the end zone, got death threats. MVS fumbled during the Colts game, got death threats.
Yeah.
Like this, like it, again, it is a very loud, like vocal minority, but it's still just like a bad look because like obviously you're associated with the team.
Yeah.
But in terms of what you're talking about, so you mentioned this, and I want to talk about this point. You said that because they brought Rodgers back, you don't understand why they're not swinging big to get weapons. Yeah.
Right now. Yeah. And I know they were trying, but it feels like the Packers are the team that's not willing to give the extra thing right now because they're always trying to think about the future.
Okay. So can I ask you
Who they should have got?
Mhm.
They should have overpaid for Cooks. They should have overpaid for Judy. They should have overpaid for, well, I don't know. Claypool is so funny because I don't think he saves your passing game. We'll find out with the Bears. Like, I don't know. They should have done something.
So that, okay. Let's go through those three guys real quick. Okay. Chase Claypool.
Maybe there's another guy out there we weren't even thinking about, you know?
Chase Claypool. He was in obviously the Packers offered a second rounder and the Steelers just picked another team because they thought that they would do worse. So Goody really can't do anything about that. That's one. And I don't think Chase Claypool is saving the team either because the guy has a problem with drops. And, you know, like how many times have we talked to Trey and Trey's just like, please God, just get rid of him. The fact that they got a second rounder for him, Steelers fans are just happy as hell. Okay. Judy, how many times have you and I talked about this? Can get open, can stretch the field, has a problem with what, Perna? Drops. Okay, so massively overpaying for him. And then you bring up a great option, a really good receiver who I think could be really good for the Packers, Brandon Cooks from the Houston Texans, right?
Can't afford him. Can't afford him.
Guess how much money he's owed next year, buddy? $18 million.
Yeah, you restructure.
You cannot afford him.
You restructure.
Because the Packers cap space is bad because we brought Aaron Rodgers back. So let's just say, all right, maybe there's other guys out there. There's Elijah Moore, right, that you could have brought in, right? Like he wants to be traded, but the Jets seem that they do not want to trade him. He was back playing with the team, and who knows how much that was going to cost. Also, is he an established wide receiver? He is not. So what other KJ Hamler, maybe? Are the Broncos even going to potentially trade him?
For a first-round pick, we might have.
Okay, yeah, for the first round pick, which they're not going to do. DJ Moore, I would have loved it. Would have loved it to the moon and back, but they're not moving him. Scary Terry, I would have loved him before, but he got a new contract.
That's the thing. Like, I'm not saying I know who they should have brought in. I'm saying elite GMs make something happen.
So that's the issue that I have. Is because if the Packers went out and they spent a first-round pick on Chase Claypool, nobody's talking today. Except maybe making fun of them for spending a first-round pick. And I
don't think you give up for Chase, no, but like maybe there were deals in the works for other players we didn't even hear about. Or even like the Falcons giving up a conditional 7th for Rashad Fenton from the Chiefs. Like, that's a guy the Chiefs suddenly don't want to use on defense, who's played pretty good at corner. Like, even if it was just one of those extra pieces, and I'm not saying that the Packers need corner help, but I'm saying like there are players out there to be had. And when you've got a QB who you think is in his last year and your team is struggling, it seems like you need to do something, but you don't.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
But that is my issue, because you're looking at just because you did something, that means that you're going to be successful. And because you didn't do something, or, let me rephrase that, because they didn't get anybody, they are looked at as unsuccessful. So, yes.
Yes.
So
why wouldn't you just trade for TJ Hockenson?
Didn't know that was an option. And plus, he's going to be owed a lot of money after that. But yeah, no, honestly, like Hockenson, like, I don't know. There is so much collusion going on there. First, it was with the draft and Jameson Williams, and I don't want to get into that. But the point that I'm trying to make is that with the weapons that were out there that could have been traded for, I don't know who the Packers realistically could have gotten. Truly, I don't. And
Davis
again,
Mills.
What? I hate you so much. But again, I think in terms
Jeff
of
Wilson.
throw you out the window. Why? We don't utilize our running backs anyway. It doesn't really matter. So the problem is that the Green Bay Packers, because they didn't get anybody, it's like burn the franchise down, fire Good. And because I'm saying, hey, let's maybe be a little rational here, people are going, oh my God, you're like licking the boot of Brian Gutekunst. And it's like such a stupid comment because Goody has missed out on a bunch of things. But I'm sorry. I'm going to be very honest here. If you think that they did not try to help this team, first of all, their Super Bowl window was these past 2 years. They didn't get it. They failed. They came up short. And that was not because of Brian Gutekunst. That was because of coaching. That was because of injuries. And that was because of lack of execution in special teams and on offense in the playoffs when it actually mattered. The defense was phenomenal against the San Francisco 49ers in the playoffs last year. 1. 2, they didn't do anything. They brought back Rasul Douglas. They brought back Devondre Campbell, right? They traded up for a wide receiver, then drafted 2 more in the draft. They brought in Sammy Watkins. They restructured Randall Cobb. And you might go, well, Tom, not all those are big things, even though I would argue Campbell and Douglas were big. Those aren't all big things. Well, here's the problem, folks. This is the cost of trying to keep the window open. You brought back Aaron Rodgers, the back-to-back MVP of the league. And guess what? We lost guys. Devontae Adams, because the Packers front office, they messed around and they found out because they didn't give him a contract in August. And then they tried to franchise tag him. He's like, I don't want to play no more. So he got traded away. MVS, who nobody wanted to keep, he left, right? Equinemius St. Brown, who the Packers weren't utilizing, he left and went to the Bears. So there was a talent exodus, and they tried the best they could with the resources they have, which are limited because of bringing back our back-to-back MVP quarterback. And now people are like, well, now they should have traded Aaron Rodgers. And some people said that beforehand, but that's hindsight, right? Right now, in the now, giving up a second for Chase Claypool is not going to save this team. They got O-line difficulties. They're not running the ball enough. They have play calling problems. They have Joe Barry, which in itself is a problem. They have secondary issues right now. They have wide receiver problems. Getting one wide receiver isn't going to solve the entire offense. So I disagree. And going, yeah, let's mortgage our future even more, which, by the way, our future is already not looking so great because we're overpaying Aaron Rodgers.
You don't have a future.
I'm just saying, getting one guy on the trade deadline is not it. Like, it's not it. So
you guys should have just traded for Jamar Chase. Idiots.
It's right there. He's injured and everything.
He's hurt. Value's down. Could have got Calvin Ridley.
And again, I think the Packers front office, and they could be very wrong. The Packers front office thinks that this team is salvageable and still can be good. Because if they didn't, they would sell. They would have sold during the trade deadline because there's people that they could have sold off. But
basically, well, like Rodgers wanted him to do something, right? If I'm the Packers, I would have said to Aaron Rodgers, we will go get Calvin Ridley if you commit to playing next season right now.
So already we're forfeiting this season.
Well, because Ridley just might not play this year. That's why.
Well, he's not going to play this year.
Yeah, I mean, he could be reinstated. It's like
he's done.
It could happen.
Yeah,
but he should be playing next year. And Calvin Ridley with Aaron Rodgers, I like that. I'm like,
sure.
Hey, this is the only guy we can get. We'll go get him.
Let's be honest, Perna. Nobody has any idea, including Aaron Rodgers, if he's coming back next year.
Well, I ask him. That's what I'm saying. Aaron, are you going to come back next year? Because we'll go get you a Calvin Ridley. No? Fuck off. We'll get you nothing. You can have Calvin Ridley or you can have nothing.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir. So yeah, I just think I understand the frustration.
I get what you're saying.
I want them to win.
What you're saying is very rational and it makes sense.
But because I'm saying that, and I'm not just like, oh my God, blow it all up and fire everyone. There's like bootlicker.
You are a bootlicker.
Yep, that's me.
But you just have a weird. That's a fetish.
I just like boots.
Under that desk, it's just all those hats up there. Underneath, it's boots, guys. It is boots. No, it's the same thing about when an offense isn't performing. The solution is always fire the offensive coordinator. There are so many people out there who understand football X's and O's better than offensive coordinators. It's hilarious to me. We don't know how to fix football teams. Sometimes it's clear. It's like, oh, their quarterback's terrible. They fix that, the team's good. Sometimes that's not so clear. You get Russell Wilson and the offense is still bad. Don't know. But I hear what you're saying. The Packers are in a situation where they might not have had a good option to make a move at the trade deadline.
Listen, the Packers, I don't know if they are going to make the playoffs this year. I don't know if they're going to have a winning record this year. Again, I saw optimism. I have reason to be a little hopeful after this past Sunday. Are they going to carry that into the Lions game? I don't know, because I thought that they should have beaten the Commanders. I thought they should have beaten the Giants. The Jets, they were outplayed 100% in the second half, so they were with the Giants. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But Rodgers went on McAfee and said, hey, for the first time, like, preparing for Buffalo feels like it was like a really good practice for the first time this season. I was like, I don't think it should have taken until week 8 to do so, but that's neither here nor there. I think that there's rumors coming out now that there's frustration with Joe Barry. I know there's a lot of frustration with Joe Barry with the fan base because a lot of the players, there's so much talent on there, they're just not being utilized well. See, I think that's an overpay. I think that's I would never. That's like, and again, I don't even think Chase Claypool's that good.
He was good for a streak.
Yeah, I don't.
Is that Chase? Is it the bad QB? It's so hard to properly evaluate a wide receiver when the quarterback play is subpar. Like he had a streak with Ben Roethlisberger in 2020, and then Roethlisberger started to fall apart, and then he played a full season with the decrepit Roethlisberger, and then it's Pickett, it's Trubisky.
Sure.
Could Chase Claypool be good again? Possibly. Is Justin Fields that guy? That's a tough one. I like that the Bears are trying to make Fields a little bit better by giving him another option in the receiving game. And the way Claypool's built, that's kind of what the Bears are missing in their passing game. So we'll see. I don't want to say Claypool's bad yet. But again, that's a lot to give up for that specific receiver if you're the Packers. I get it.
Yeah, that's it. But again, they're being criticized because they did. Will Fuller retired, by the way. Yeah. So it's frustrating because I want to see this team win more than anything, right? And it's also more frustrating because you see the Lions and the Vikings colluding again. The Lions trading away TJ Hockenson, which is, I get it because the Lions understand what position they're in right now, right? Is that next year they're going to go after a franchise quarterback because that is the time to do so. And they know they don't have a defense. And like, okay, so instead of winding up like paying TJ Hockenson a whole bunch of money, we're just going to try to get as much capital as possible. It sucks because he was the 8th overall pick. And this is like not the first time that the Lions have drafted a tight end in the first round and it didn't work out. Looking at you, Eric Ebron. So it's a little bit of a head scratcher, but it does make the Vikings even better.
Yeah, this is a huge win for the Vikings. And I know that the Lions get some decent value for Hockenson. I don't know, but if you got a guy who's probably a top 5 tight end, top 10, certainly, that's kind of a guy you want to keep around. Tight ends are tough. Really good tight ends are tough to find. And
True.
I think if you got, your franchise QB, and you might be in a position to just draft that guy, as horribly as you're playing right now.
Yep.
A good piece for him to have is TJ Hockenson.
It's November 2nd, 2022. I almost guarantee that Alan Lazard is not going to be on the Green Bay Packers next year. And that has nothing to do with his level of play or the franchise not wanting him. I don't think he wants to be there anymore. So just a little tidbit. Yes. Yeah, we're talking about that. Apparently, they are considering all options. That's what we talked about this morning. Hopefully, the Commanders do. But yes, Perna, you have the...
These are all the trades that went down. We talked to McCaffrey a couple weeks ago. That's just looking like a great deal for the 49ers. Talked about Chubb already. Ridley to the Jaguars. Once he comes back, I think that could be a great piece for Jacksonville. Roquan Smith. How do you feel about Roquan leaving the division, Tom?
I'm happy about it, but I'm not surprised at all because, he wanted to be traded during the offseason. He's been having a good season, and they were like, hey, okay, let's get some value out of him because they weren't going to sign him to a mega deal. And they weren't going to sign him to a mega deal, but the Bears can afford to say, here you go. Let me give you a second rounder for Chase Claypool because they have the draft capital and they have a ton of money next year. They're going to have the most cap space than any other team in the NFL. So they have a ton of resources to rebuild their team either around Justin Fields or to replace Justin Fields, depending on how, the wind blows. But yeah, no, the Bears are basically saying, yeah, let's sell off our talent right now to get as much as we possibly can to put us in a great position to rebuild.
Right. And that's one way to approach it. Obviously, but it's that's a little bit backwards, I think, from the normal approach in that when you have a QB in his rookie window, right? You're not overpaying for your quarterback. You pay the key pieces for your team to stay because you can afford to do so. And I think the Bears could have afforded to overpay Roquan Smith a little bit right now.
Yes.
To keep that defense good. So how much they have like a ton of cap space this offseason too, right? Is that
they have like they're gonna have like $100 million.
So they'll probably make their splashes there. Which is
I don't even know if they will though, Perna. I really don't. The reason I say that is because I think you might see, and I mentioned this last season too, you might see the Bears shift from being like that defensive powerhouse team to trying to be more of an offensive team. And maybe that's where they're going to put a lot of their resources into. So,
yeah,
well,
it's
Andrew,
just
hindsight.
There's no one correct approach, and
Correct.
I think right now a lot of people are over praising the Bears for their moves and probably over criticizing. I think the criticism may be a little just with the Claypool move, but it does help maybe evaluate Justin Fields a little bit better. So we'll see.
Yes.
I don't know. And
Roquan wanted to be like the highest paid linebacker. He wanted a ton of money. And now for the Ravens, they could theoretically, because they could do some restructuring, but they also have to figure out what they're doing with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
So
if I'm the Bears, I would have overpaid Roquan Smith. I would have, if it were up to me. I think really good linebackers are nice to have, key piece of the defense. The question is, how good is Roquan Smith? He's one of those players who people think he's either great or overrated. So I don't know. I don't watch enough Bears football to have an educated take on Roquan Smith's X's and O's.
Yeah, I unfortunately do. You did talk about Calvin Ridley going to the Jaguars.
The Jaguars?
Which is, I don't think it's a bad move. I mean, I know it's a very conditional pick, that I think it could go up to a second if they actually give him an extension. So it's a good deal for everybody. The Falcons, I think Ridley's a good player, but you don't know how he's going to be when he comes back. And the Jaguars could use a good player because they know they're not going to be good this season. So it's all right, well, we have an extra weapon next year too.
Yeah. And Ridley's a number one receiver. And I think like for Trevor Lawrence to take a leap, he needs a guy like Ridley. And I think Ridley also makes Christian Kirk better. Like Kirk's more suited to be that second type of receiver. So just upside there if he comes back. I think a sneaky trade, Naheem Hines to the Buffalo Billies. Player for player, they get rid of Zach Moss, who they're not really utilizing. They bring in a guy who's really good at catching passes out of the backfield. At least he was. At least he was. And that's the way the Bills offense, it's like the Chiefs. The Bills and Chiefs, they don't care about running the ball because so many of their short passes are runs. And now if you have Devin Singletary is pretty good at that. But if you got two guys who any down can be that, hey, 3-yard pass from Josh Allen, check down that they turn into 12, 15, 20 yards. Might be nice. Might be nice for the Billies. They were trying to get different running backs too. They seem to be linked to every available running back. So, small trade, but could be impactful.
You know what, actually? So I want to talk about real quick the guys who didn't get traded, because there are some that it's interesting. So, for example, Cam Akers, right? So running back for the Rams, who it seems like they are just going to part ways. I think I read something yesterday that it's just like, hey, they're going to work something out where he's just not going to be on the team anymore because the Rams don't want to utilize him. It doesn't look like Cam Akers wants to be there either.
Like, are they going to release him like mid-season or after the season?
I don't know. I just saw that they were going to like work something out with his future. So I don't know what's going on with Cam Akers because I would imagine they tried to move him, but they have no leverage there, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think anyone's dying for Cam Akers.
That was probably a mistake by the Rams in that they just basically made him inactive.
Yep.
If they wanted to trade him, they needed to be using him and showing that he's got something to offer right now. Like the NFL is so like, what's this player doing this season right now? And they're like, the Rams aren't using him. It's what Shannon Sharp criticized Jerry Jones for doing, where everybody knew they were trying to move Amari Cooper, which decreased his value. So the same thing just happened with Cam Akers, who...
How bad, dude? How bad does that trade look?
It's so bad.
I mean, he threw an interception.
Poor Scooter. Like, with Chase Claypool getting a second,
that
was more just a middle finger to the Cowboys than anything else. It's like, you idiots. You idiots.
So there's that. Jerry Jeudy, who we talked about, so he didn't get moved. So I'm curious, like maybe the Broncos are just be like, hopefully he just plays better.
Well, he just had 2 really good games. Like after I've poo-pooed on him and his poor play, or I was just so frustrated, he's had 2 back-to-back pretty nice games. No drops, getting open. So it's like, hey, we're going to get the pick for Chubb. Let's keep these offensive pieces together now. It's the 3rd year of his deal too. So it's like, let's see where we're at with Jeudy by the end of the season. Cause you could still trade him after because he's still under contract. So
Elijah Moore, who we talked about, but it looks like maybe there's like something of a coming together because the Jets weren't going to trade him. And now he's like active again and playing. So there's nothing there. Brandon Cooks, but again, he's owed $18 million. So like, that's going to be a restriction.
And he's 29. I think that's also the issue. If he were 27, he would have been moved. He's been traded so many times too.
He has. And he's been playing like he's a good player. Like, don't get me wrong.
Pretty good everywhere he's went.
The biggest one for me though, and I'm a little shocked by this, is Kareem Hunt not being traded. And apparently Cleveland was only asking for a 4th. That was like what the story was. And I got like, listen, they got Hines, like, which is good. If I'm the Buffalo Bills, I'm giving up a 4th for like Kareem Hunt all day.
I'm not, you have to commit to running with Hunt. Like that's his running style. And he can catch we've seen him do it with the Browns, but it's like, to me, a better fit is someone who is more shifty, a little bit speedier in that offense. I think Hunt needed to go to a team that's willing to sort of ground and pound it. He's more of a punishing runner. So I don't know. It would have been fun to see him with Buffalo, but I kind of understand why they wouldn't have given up. Like maybe they needed to, like, the Browns had to agree to take Zach Moss in that exchange, and they just wouldn't. Although Zach Moss might succeed in Cleveland. Like, their line is built to block for the run, so I don't know. But with Nick Chubb and you not moving a guy who's not going to come back, where you could get something for him, that seems like a F up by the Browns. Yeah, it was his first season, though, and they committed to running with Kareem Hunt. That was before the Chiefs really turned into the offense they have now. So,
but I think also, with the Bills, the reason I bring it up is because near the end of last season, like near like the tail end of the regular season, they started rushing with Singletary more, and they were finding success there. Wasn't it against was it against the Falcons where like they were running the ball really well, and like Matt Ryan was like doing crazy things too? It might have been that game or after, but yeah, I just thought I thought for what value he had, I'm surprised that he didn't get moved, because I don't think a fourth is asking too much.
No, and it has to be a team that's kind of in contend now sort of mode, right?
Yeah.
To drop a fourth for Kareem Hunt, and maybe just the contending teams were just like, no, I think we're set with our running back situation. There was like some trade buzz around Jamal Williams too. That didn't happen, because I think once the Lions sold off TJ Hockenson, other teams were like, hey, well, we'll take Jamal Williams if you want to give him.
But they're also saying that Swift is not ready yet. So
yeah, well, that's the conundrum for the Lions.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting because like it was a crazy day. And I think like the real winners, like I think the Bills are like sneaky winners of that. The Vikings are 100%. And then the Dolphins, like in terms of like the teams that are in contention to do well this year, like they got better. So.
Hi, David.
I mean, we'll see. Like, I can't wait. Dolphins, Bills. Oh my God. Was that December? That's going to be a fun game.
Oh, that's going to be a fun game. The rematch. So you forget the Dolphins beat the Bills this season. They're the team that
they're the ones who did it.
Their only L.
Yep. Yep. So I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. But Perna, I think we did it.
Yeah, the Seahawks they got Kenneth Walker. They're fine.
They're just fine.
They fine.
Oh yeah, Perna, what about your power rankings?
Not done. I had to do free agency. I shot a Zach Wilson episode yesterday, and I know I didn't work as much as Tom. I didn't do as many videos as Tom. But we've had the kid home because she's got a cough and some other
Feeling
stuff.
better?
So yeah, Monday was crazy. She was like, we thought she was getting really sick. She was just nuts. And since then, she just had some cough and hasn't been 100%. So we've been keeping her home, and I got to show up a little bit and help out.
Tell Carmi, go pack.
Go pack. Since she said that, she has developed a cough.
That can't be on me because we weren't good enough to choke yet. So like we definitely didn't choke because we just haven't been good.
But I will have power rankings up, and spoiler, it's a power rankings like you've never seen before.
Oh, good God, bro. You know what?
I'm just going to tease it. I'm not even going to give it away.
You know what? Maybe it's the right thing that you just don't have them done
just
on Tuesday.
And I forgot to make your power rankings graphic. Sorry. I'm sorry. So we can't even talk about it.
It's fine.
We're getting out of here.
Fine. All right, Perna, so you got power rankings coming out today. Anything else you got coming out today?
Maybe the Zach Wilson video. Depends on when I get this done. If not, that'll be up tomorrow morning. And then I'll see you again Friday and Thursday.
Yes.
Communism.
Communism forever.
I'm gonna train her to be the next GM of a football team. That's my goal.
You should. Predictions are coming out. I'll be late tonight. And then AFC South, which will premiere before 10:15, which is when the NFC South did. Yesterday was just insane. I put out.
What was your favorite video you did from yesterday? Not your best performing. Which one were you the most proud of, Tom?
Honestly, the NFC South, because like it was the longest one of the season and I was really happy with it. Yeah. I also really think the stream went well because I streamed.
Yeah, no, I saw that. I was
Yeah.
like, he's an Osh machine.
Yeah,
Machina.
we just kept going. So yeah, AFC South hope to have out by like 5 p.m. Eastern, hopefully around there. And then predictions will be later tonight.
And yes, we talked about Dan Snyder at the top of this episode. So after we end this stream, if you want to go back, it looks like the Commanders are selling.
Let's do it. Folks, we appreciate you watching. We had over 4,000 people in here showing up on a Wednesday show. We'll be back on Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. But folks, thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. This is GPS. And you have been navigated.
And you're about to sell your football.